Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Dragon's Dogma 2 and we're doing the top 10 best Duospears. I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, it's only top 9. For some reason, I can't find the 10th one, and I know there must be at least 10 because why on earth would the developers put any less than that in here? They know that I have to do top 10 videos. Why would they screw me like that? But before we get into this ranking, which will be just like all the others, so it'll be based on stats, I just want to remind you, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's of the utmost importance that I very quickly get to over 100,000 subscribers, and we're currently at just above 80,000. You have no idea the gravity of this importance, so please, if you haven't already subscribed, click that button and help me today. But with all that being said, let's dive on in and get to the ranking. So starting us off at number 9 instead of 10, we have the Initiate's Blade, a Duospear that inspires confidence even in unfledged hands, capable of delivering potent strikes, both magical and physical. Stats for this one are strength of 215, magic of 227, slash strength of 100, strike strength of 0, and a knockdown power of 155, giving it a composite score of 139.4. So pretty solid start off the bat. So considering it's the worst Duospear in the game, it's still significantly more powerful than at least half of the other weapons in the game just overall. Not to mention the fight style that you use with a Duospear is very rapid and attacks a lot. So it's just overall a very good weapon. One of the things that makes the Mystic Spear hand very, very good. Keep in mind with these stats that I'm talking about, the ones over on the right, you know, strength, magic, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. The numbers you see also include my players' levels, so those are different than the ones I'm reading off. I'm just reading off the stats for the weapon itself. And keep in mind that I'm doing all of these weapons at the level 4 upgrade, so the Dragon Forged upgrade. So if you have one that is level 1, it will be not this strong. But that being said, if you're comparing a level 1 to a level 1 anywhere else on this list, or a level 4 to a level 4 anywhere on this list, the ranking will hold fairly true, fairly consistently most of the time. So with all those caveats in place, the Initiate's Blade I think looks pretty cool. Obviously we already talked about the stats being good. This one's just a very basic looking one. Not oversized in any way, basically no fantasy elements. I mean, I don't know how realistic a double-ended sword staff is. I don't know historically if that was ever something that anybody actually ever used. But if you were gonna make one and you wanted to use it, I think this is what I would make it look like. So it's basically just a spear on both ends, you know, so realistically that would be pretty useful. But that is the Initiate's Blade, which takes the number 9 spot. Let's move on to number 8. And at number 8 we have the Percipient Blade, a Duospear of heavy make. The more experienced its wielder, the sharper the blades seem to become. The Percipient's Blade has a strength of 296, magic of 271, strength of 100, strike strength of 0, knockdown power of 187, giving it a composite score of 170.8. So already a pretty serious stat jump over the last one. So definitely worth the upgrade. As far as special perks, you can see it says the sharper the blades, or the more experienced its wielder, the sharper the blades seem to become. So the higher your rank is, the more effective this one is, or at least your rank with a Mystic Spear hand. Appearance-wise, looks pretty cool. It's got a basic red haft with a bunch of brass accents to it, and then again, just looks like basic spear ends on it, or I shouldn't say basic because they're significantly more fancy, but definitely pretty cool looking overall in my opinion. One of the better looking ones in the game. So that is the Percipient Blade, which comes in at number 8. At number 7, we have an interesting one, the Fool's Prize, a Duospear crudely wrought. The shaft is covered in spikes that snag the skin like pestilent thorns. Excels at clobbering goblinkin. Stats on this one is 384 for strength, 349 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 207 for knockdown power, giving it a composite score of 208. So this one is an interesting weapon. I wouldn't call it a spear because nothing about it is spear-like in any way. It is a bludgeon. It's interesting in look because it's got like a flanged mace on the top, or what I would probably consider to be the top, and then a bunch of spikes. Then we have like a cloth-wrapped section for your hands to go, some more spikes in a shorter section, and then a spiked Morning Star end. So it's like a flanged mace and a Morning Star had a baby with a stick, a long stick. Looks pretty cool. I like it. It would obviously be fairly effective because it's a heavy bludgeon with an extremely long haft, which would give you a ton of mechanical advantage and leverage on this thing. So the Fool's Prize is not exactly a spear, but it is a very good weapon. So that's number 7. At number 6, we have the Tail Trimmer, which is one of the shortest ones, I think, or at least maybe it just looks that way when you're using it. But this one is a Duospear designed for severing. Its wedded edges glide through flesh and bone alike, especially lethal against saurians and their scaly ilk. Stats for this one are 410 for strength, 362 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 255 for knockdown power, giving us a composite score of 225.4. Yeah, so stats again, just improving over and over again. I like that it's especially effective against Saurians, given the fact that you come up against a lot of Saurian type enemies in the game, so that's a stat boost or a effectiveness boost that actually comes into play a lot. I also really like the appearance of it. Now, I don't know exactly how sharp it would be. It's got all these short little blades, and I mean short in a like width for the blade because it's got 4 of them in a star shape on either side. Rigidity and strength on these would be phenomenal. You know, for stabbing, they would be just fantastic because when you do a cross-section blade like that, it's extremely rigid and extremely strong. Not typically slashing weapons though, so that's interesting. But it does look pretty cool, and obviously stat-wise is excellent. So that is the Tail Trimmer, which takes the number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5, we have Wings Asunder, and I quite like this one. It's a Duospear modeled after griffins in flight. The curved blades resemble imperious beaks and are no less deadly than their monstrous counterparts. Stats for this one are 482 for strength, 424 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 235 is their knockdown power, which gives you a composite score of 248.2. So again, substantially better than the last one, and I love the appearance of this one. I don't know that when I look at it, I mean, you can see that the blades are roughly shaped like birds. They have like bird heads on them, but I don't know if looking at this, I would say it looks like a griffin. I would say it looks like a double-sided bardiche of some sort, but what it definitely looks like is awesome. I love it. It's a big, heavy slashing weapon. This one looks like it would deal tremendous slashing damage. You've got that. I mean, it might get awkward having it on both ends because basically, you know, it's just a big pole arm with, you know, an end on each end. But that being said, if you used it like you would use a pole arm, it would have tons of leverage, tons of power. It is a battlefield supremacy weapon. This would be great for taking on armored opponents or, you know, monsters with thick scales and stuff. So I love the Wings Asunder. It's an excellent looking weapon. The stats are fantastic. It's one of my favorites. So that one comes in at number 5. At number 4, we have Soul of Antiquity, a time-worn Duospear elaborately engraved with a vine motif. As far as stats on this one goes, we have 539 for the strength, 474 for the magic, 100 for the slash strength, 0 for the strike strength, and 227 for knockdown power, giving us a composite score of 268. This one returns to a slightly more basic looking spear design. I say basic just because, you know, it looks like a normal spear on either end, but it's obviously quite fancy. You can see we've got a vine going all the way up and down the haft of it, and then the head of it is also quite fancy with little hooky guys on the bottom. So I like this one. Again, it returns to a classic spear design, so I find it aesthetically pleasing. And if you were going to have a double-sided spear, this is probably what it would look like. So quite good, and obviously stats are fantastic. So that's Soul of Antiquity at number 4. At number 3, we have the Dead Ringer. This one says a Duospear more suited to hacking than slashing. The adornments along the edges of the blades might be the spine of some poor creature. Stats on this one are 582 for strength, 511 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 275 for knockdown power, giving us a composite score of 293.6. So very, very powerful stats all around the board. I find it interesting. It says more suited to hacking than slashing. Hacking and slashing are basically the same thing. I mean, you could get into semantics about the type of force and the way that you're using a specific hack versus a slash, but I would say it's more suited to slashing or hacking than stabbing. That would be an accurate statement. But, you know, all of that aside, design's pretty cool. It definitely looks like it belongs to like a Batali person because it's got that kind of curved blade that looks like it fits with a lot of their other weapons. I like it though. It definitely looks like a slashing weapon, and stat-wise it's fantastic. So that's the Dead Ringer at number 3. At number 2, our runner-up is the Rowent, a Duospear that emanates cold. The etchings on the blades recall Morning Frost and confer a permanent ice enchantment. Stats on this one are 616 for strength, 559 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 261 for knockdown power, giving it a composite score of 307.2. So this one's over 300, and that should tell you just there, based on if you've watched any of the previous videos, it's one of the best weapons in the game because very few get a composite score above 300. And this one's fantastic. So stat-wise, it's phenomenal. Appearance-wise, again, it looks a lot like a lot of the other ones we've looked at, particularly the Soul of Antiquity. This one just has the added advantage of having glowing blue blades that deal a ton of ice damage. So the Rowent is one of the best weapons in the game overall, and it is the second best Duospear. And of course, our best Duospear in the game is the Lindworm Fang, a Duospear inspired by the legendary Lindworm with a lethal edge to match. Continuing to strike without taking damage empowers the blades. This one has stats of 690 for strength, 592 for magic, 100 for slash strength, 0 for strike strength, and 283 for knockdown power, giving it a composite score of 333. So by far the most powerful Duospear in the game. Appearances, it's fine. Obviously, having the 3 heads like that would make it pretty deadly if they were all really sharp, because if you stabbed with them, you'd be doing 3 wounds instead of just 1, or you'd do 1 really big wound. Hard to say. Flesh is interesting like that. Would make it heavy as well, and slashing could be difficult, but obviously if they're nice and sharp, you know, you just have increased vectors of attack range. So realism aside, it's a pretty cool looking weapon. Stats are phenomenal for this one, and the perk for this one says continuing to strike without taking damage empowers the blades. That just means you're going to get a damage multiplier as you're dealing damage. You're hitting with it multiple times without taking any hits in return. So considering the type of builds that you use a Duospear for are oftentimes, you know, rapid continuous hit builds, that's a pretty good perk because it can really stack up to some pretty serious stat improvements. So that's the Lindworm Fang at number 1, and that is all of our Duospears in the game, or at least all the ones I could find, and I scoured as hard as I could because I really like them. So if there are any that I missed that you know where they are, definitely let us know down in the comment section below. And if you disagree with the ranking I did in any way, shape, and or form, of course, expound on that at great length. Trust me, I read them all. But that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.